Bum 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 bum. Well, life has its own rhythm, and sometimes we tell ourselves that what we see, what we hear, it's not always what it is. But then we look around, and story becomes more and more and more interesting. So my name is Massimo Navarrete. I am the master chef owner of Onochia Wine Country Cuisine here in Costa Mesa, California. The most important thing that you need to know is that life is beautiful, that each one of us have the unique opportunity to write our own stories. And in many occasions, our stories are much more beautiful than we think it is. Only we don't believe in it because somehow, somewhere, somebody has told us that if it's not made in Hollywood, or on Netflix or anywhere else, then the story is not the same. And here's the beauty of it all. Most story told in those conditions are manufacturers, are rerun, are restructures, re-engineers. Our life every day, it's live. It's beautiful. It's improv and it's script. But we can choose the ending, the beginning, the middle. And so when I see some events out there that tells you a different story than what you hear, you wonder often why is the story told the way it's told. And interesting enough, sometimes we need to go back to go forward. We have to look in our histories to kind of figure it out what's the context. I had a wonderful thoughts in my mind the other day. I was listening to Vivaldi, the spring, and it's a beautiful piece of music. You probably have heard it many, many, many times on every weddings. Pretty much is like the go-to song. So, and I saw the picture of Vivaldi. These young, wonderful, talented musicians of the Venetian time, and I couldn't stop laughing about the wig. You know, And when you're watching those movie from, or you're looking through the history book, and you saw how the elite were constructing the differentiation in between them and everybody else by really dress up in these elaborate costumes. And the wigs was one of those incredible contribution of the French to the noblesse of Europe. And the pretentiousness, it's amazing. In fact, it's been written so many books and poetry and great literature about these personalities and heroes of the past. And you really, when you look at them, you think, what a shallow people. I mean, truly, what a shallow people. Really insecure. They puff up like a bunch of toads. And on the end, they really had no content. And some amazing, great artists were basically no more, no less than slaves as the system it is now and never changed. You think about um, how we trying to liberate each other's by creating a just society, a more wonderful, free, open space for everybody. We end up at the same place. So for years and years, musicians were complaining about the recording studios and the big firm, the coats. And now all these artists, they have all this venue, YouTube, of course, I'm on it, just to give you an example, but I don't, I'll do it just for fun. I don't, I don't really care about one way or the other. So to be honest with you, I just having some fun laughing and get things out of my head and share it with you. If it matter, if it matter to you, it matter. If it doesn't either. But here's the thing. And now they are really basically the same place. It's just that Bezos owns it, the other guy owns it, So the channels are the same, and the story never really varies, it never change. And so, what we need to do here to make substantial advance in our society and to understand what makes a human free, what makes ourselves to be happy, to give us joy. And is that the smile of a child when it's born? The first cry is the first kiss you're getting from the girls you're so hard trying to impress. Um, is the Olympic gold? It's the first successful restaurants. I think the spirit of humans are so intrinsically complicated, and it seems to me like every time we reach one of those little goals, we can't wait to get to the next goal, and we lose the moment where we should just there let us sink in and say, maybe, just maybe, the idea is not so much about being happy through the system. It's just being happy with ourselves, you know, to find the spiritual center that we also seems to longing for, but we can't quite find the definitions. And so people constantly search for a label to put it on. And that's the problem in the first place. Uh, Being happy and being spiritual doesn't need a label. What it needs is a state of mind. What it needs is actions. You can be kind to everyone and not need a label to be so. You don't even need a reward to be kind. You just need to be. Because if that's what makes or gives you the happiness, but then do it. Do it. We don't have to always be in the balcony. In Italy is an expression. Every time you want to make a scene, you just go out to your balcony and you start talking. That's the reason why in Italy we love our balconies, because it's our place where Facebook was created. The place where first radio was invented. It doesn't matter. You get to the balcony and start yapping, and so you can do in a quiet of your love, of your house, which is your heart. Often I spoke about wines because I own a restaurants and being a wine business all my life, trying to communicate with people in a more populist, simplistic way about wine, because I don't honestly believe wine is that complex, it's that complicated. It's just fruit juice. It's fermented. There has a lot of variation. Of course, the talent of the winemaker, the vineyards, and all. Yes, all those things are important and it's beautiful. They're special. But honestly, it's far less complicated than people think. I have seen people come to the counter and sweating over a label as if that's a reflection of their ignorance, because they can understand it. Just no, believe me, you don't understand the label because you don't speak the language, and beyond that is because laws of countries like Germany and Italy can be exhausting because they have to write something, and so it becomes more complicated than it be. But honestly, on the base of it all, there is education. You understand what the issue is here? It's education. Any events occurs out there, it spins out of hand because people don't have or don't want to, or they say they make excuse, don't have a time to get informed. But informed the correct way. In order to have the right information, you need to find through all the sources, alternative sources, and yet you have to be critical mind. You have to be analytic. You have to be skeptical. That's where my buddies, Mr. Socrates, comes in. And in the end, he was so skeptical that he actually went crazy. So let's don't get crazy. Let's just be au natural. Ask questions. Why is all of a sudden in this country, if you have a different opinion, you're a villain? If you ask a simple questions, you're a denier. you are something out of the ordinary. It seems to me there is such a rush to be a part of something where everybody has to agree. That is the complete absence of intelligence. First and foremost, all of us, in our own individual way, ask our questions. Whatever the question is, has a validity to it. You hear the expression many times: there is no stupid questions. I have I have a reservation on that phrase. But yes, yes, in general speaking, if a person doesn't know something, would like to know something, the question must be asked, and then we can evolve from the question, whether the question has a validity or not, or is pertinent or not. That doesn't have any relevance at the moment. The important thing is the question is asked. And when you ask the questions, then is red wine better than white wine? Is it? No. It's just wine. The process is exactly the same, except one thing: skin contact. On the white, very short, sometimes non-existing. In fact, one can make the argument that all wine are white, or in color, if you want to use more current terminology for the woke people, because color comes from the skin, the pigmentation of the skin. And so you leave the skin into the juice for an extended amount of time, and then you'll go and get the result. Obviously, variation comes when the varietals of the grapes, to say Merlot, Cabernet, Sangiovese, Nebbiolo, Pinot Noir, they all have their own gradations of coloring into their skin. That what makes them different from one another, and that's the beauty. It's just like us, like humans, right? Not every Italian is short, not every Italian is tall, not every Italian is brown, not every Italian is white. Each one of us has a grades of most of the things we're talking about, and that makes us unique. Those are varietals. Still all Italians, more or less. Still all grapes, right? So you're taking a white grapes, you got alcohol, you got water, you got sugar, you got acids. That's it. Same wine. So why is that people needed to know that if red wine is better? Better how? Better why? Same question I ask to people all the time out there in the world, where people always making this. I don't know. This is a very typical of our country in America. Everybody has a category. Everybody's got a score. What are you talking about? Why don't you just enjoy something and forget it? Life is full of events, and every event has its own peculiar nature, his own special nature. Now, let's say you're entertaining a bunch of friends, very intimate friend. Whether it's water, beer, wine, special wine, nice wine, easy wine. It might be a big deal, it might won't be a big deal. Depends on the moment. So the story will evolve naturally from the event, because I would think among great friends there is a sense of comfort that one don't have with other people. So they say, go in the refrigerator, see what is there, pick up whatever you want. What in the mood? I just want a cold beer. Okay, pull it out. I got it. No, I don't. I have mineral water. Okay, sparkly, just the same. So to me, this essentiality, this bottom, that we have to have a degree, we have to grade ourselves whether that night was amazing, was great, was stop. That's what friends do: get together, laugh, joke, tell a story, insult each other sometimes just for fun. That is what friends do. That's what people do. So was the wine we pull special? It was magical. I go online. I I was flipping through certain picture, and there's a couple people out there, they can't stop talking about natural wine versus industrial wine, dry farm versus something else, and they come up with all this nonsensical. Why don't you declare? Why don't you tell the people what is that you try to achieve here? You're selling natural wine because that's your angle. So though, okay, I get it. So if I like it, if I enjoy it, I'll drink it. You don't have to discredit anybody else out there. Believe me, all wine are natural. What becomes afterwards, it's a question of what's the purpose of that wine. My grandfather, my father used to make wine in a farm. They were drinking year to year, so there was no need to do anything. It was just basically pressed fresh fruit, naturally fermented. They weren't checking the pH. They were not checking the alkaline. They weren't checking the volatile acid. Actually, sometimes you can smell it. They enjoyed it because ultimately, let's be honest, they want to make sure that the wine was good, it was healthy, and they can drink like a skunk. Boom. You can't argue with those guys. They lived a life like that for until they die. If you brought a bottle of wine that the world is bowed to it, oh, Petrus, La Pen, my grandfather will tell you this tastes like shit. It tastes like nothing. There's nothing in here. It tastes like charcoal. And you know what? He's right. 100%. 100% from his perspective. I'm not saying that's what the wine tastes like, but no, that's wine tastes like from his perspective, because he's used to vibrant, young, fresh wine made year to year. They love a lot of fruit, not sweet, but a lot of fruit, a lot of volume to the palate. And when you drink those esoteric, special, unreachable, unaffordable wine, you don't get that. Those are highly manufactured wine. I mean, not in a negative way, but just in a way it is. They're very highly manufactured to a point where there is a craftsmanship to make that wine reliable to the kind of palate they're going to pay $5,000 for a bottle. My grandfather wouldn't even pay $5,000 for an acre of land. Forget about the bottle of wine. So for him, forget it. Before you get to the talk of the price, he will stop on the taste of the wine. Smell like nothing. Smell like dirt. Why would I want to drink it? That is exactly what my grandfather was saying. He was used to wine with a beautiful fresh fruit. We call vinoso, a wine that smells like wine. Different, sophisticatedly simple. You know what you're getting in your glass. You don't have to consult with the M&W, the master wine, or the Hess, whatever, master sommelier. No, my grandfather only checked with the big 50-liter jug. And if it was finished, he opened you a new one. And you know what? I learned something basic. Joy. Just a joy to see them drink the fruit of labors. Drink them with their friends. Share what they so hard work for. In a incredible, beautiful, human way. We are losing it. My friends, I trying to so many times to have a conversation with people, and I'm 63 years old. Not old, I'm not young. I've been around a little bit. I was fortunate enough to born in an era in a time where Italy was still very, very agrarious. So I grew up in a farm with many farm people that labored, they sweat every day. They dig and shovel and picked. They valued the world in very different ways. They valued the small things, the really small act of kindness. Bring you a bottle of water or a glass of water, or help them lift a bowl of hay, or get up in the bus when the lady came in. Things that make human. Nowadays, it seems to me like we only focus on the big events. We couldn't wait for the story to be told. The next episodes. We can't even celebrate just a friendly day. We have to have a special day for that. You have a donuts day, you got a mushroom day, you got gay day, straight day, wine day, soda day. Why don't you just get up and say, this is a good day? I'm up. I'm running. Every functional things in my body is working. I even went to the bathroom. That's amazing. So if you want to tell the real story, be simple. Look to the things that you value the most. Don't spend the most of the time worry about what other people think of you. You don't need anyone to validate anything about you. Your hairstyle, the color of your skin, the color of your shirts, the way you walk, the way you talk. You know, I think a lot of those new media, they haven't done anything. They just accelerate what is already a fault in our human psyche. This desire, this voyeuristic desire to be approved, to be important, to be relevant at all costs. So I wouldn't really fault anyone who actually monetize our vanity, our insecurities, our egos. But I will spend a little time to remind all of us that the best way to get from where you are to where you want to go is to pay attention to small things, to be real, to be authentic, and not just say it, just be. If sometime you know that you're an asshole, just know that so that you can actually work on it to be less of a one. If you're an arrogant jackass, let's be honest with yourself, because we can see that. People around you can see that. You can't buy you in higher way out of the being that who you are. So you can actually be honest to yourself and work on that. It's not the ultimate fault. I mean, all of us have a little bit of all those things in us. But to trying to seek other people approve in order to hide who you really are, then it's not smart. It's not. Yes, you can lie to all people around you, but you can lie to yourself, and that's the point. It's the same reason why when people says to me, "Oh, what is your favorite bottle of wine?" Seriously, what would be? You tell me. I want to know because you have a point. What is your point? I don't have a favor of anything. My favorite thing is people. I like them so much that I actually spend the most of my life with them. I enjoy the company of people. I don't look for faults. I look for their humanity. I serve them with pleasure because it gives me a pleasure to know that I can contribute to something or little things to make their life a little simpler, a little funnier, a little joyful, contributing to our fellow man in the way that I know how. Without fault? No, I don't think so. I have plenty. But that don't mean that I cannot improve. But I have to do it within myself. And because I needed to, because I wanted to, because I desire to. So life, it's full of story. Everybody can tell you many stories and many, many events. But we have to be able to tell our story in a really honest way to ourselves, not to others. It's the same conversation that I have when I open a bottle of wine. Why? Sometimes it's just because it's there. The cork comes out, pull in a glass. I enjoy it. I don't need the reasons. I don't need the spectators. I don't need the scoreboard. Just a good glass of wine. Simple as that. Sometimes I buy wine because the winemaker is a friend. It's a nice person. I know what he does. I don't spend that much time to think that he could make a better wine. It's not my job. My job is to make sure that that wine, in his own personality, will refine, will be finding the home to him. Someone who enjoys that kind of wine, because it's like love. We all have it. The problem becomes when you want to love somebody that don't love you. But other than that, we all have a capacity to love. There's always someone out there who's willing, desire to love us. So it's just a question of to be humble enough to understand what is that we're doing and what's in front of us. So when the event we are set to perform makes sense and the story we tell, it's the right story. So to me, when I look around and I listen to what's going on, it reminds me Vivaldi with the nice little capigliatura in Italian they say, the wigs. I don't see the wigs. I see the music. It's all I can hear the music. I can hear the moment, the spectacular moment. I don't even know what kind of person he was. Not that I care really at this moment in time. It didn't matter to me because I'm not in a cult of personality, but I do love the music. It relaxes me. It makes joy. It makes you feel. And you know the guy had an incredible talent because he has awareness of what's happening around him. He told his beautiful story. And when I think of Vivaldi and I think of Prosecco and I think of a beautiful Lagran wine with the brioso, with the fun, and then it gets serious in the fall. And you can definitely get a little Valpolicella Superiore and finish big with a great Amarone. Either way, you can tell a story. You can tell a story with the music. You can tell a story with the wine. You can tell a story with the words. The most important thing when you create an event, everybody has to be a part of the story. You have a wonderful afternoon. This is Saturday in August. Out there is beautiful. I hope you enjoy your summer. Big hug and a big kiss from Massimo. I don't know what you want country cuisine in Costa Mesa, California. Ciao.